as to whether this particular situation of a Ningi amounts to misconduct is yet to be seen. I think generally that we run a democratic system, and I think that there should be more opportunities for people to be tried fairly, But the majority have said what they wanted, and so it has happened. But as to whether the Senate has a right to do that, of course they do, within our rules.
And those who say, the case of Omar Gege, the case of Aline Dume, the case of Dino Melaye, these established judgments of court to say you cannot deprive the constituency of the representation in the National Assembly, which means that at the moment when such a lawmaker is absent, the interest of that constituency is absent. So there are those who say whatever decision to send Ningi home is ultra-vires, is against the position of the Constitution of Nigeria.
Yeah. Well, what you must also understand is that, yes, he has been suspended, but there was a proviso that if he writes and apologizes, that he will be recalled. So he could be recalled next week, for instance, if he writes and admits his wrongs. As to whether we are, following or we're doing something against the court decisions on such matters, I don't think we are. This is an internal mechanism that has been followed.
You think Ningi deserves what he got?
No, not that he deserves what he got. I was not really appraised of the facts of the case because it was more or less a northern senators' issues. They were meeting with the Senate President and some of his leaders. But there is some substance in what he said. And he actually repeated it on the floor of the Senate, that about 3-point-something trillion Naira were not located within specific projects. And that is important. And so I think that we ought to have set up a committee to try and identify those projects, know exactly what happened, whether what Ningi is saying is true or not. That is something that we ought to have done, and something that I think we should still do at some time in the future.
You need to scrutinize some of the facts in there. Because the details in project, items at the INEC and a few other items were not totaling about 3 trillion. Details, even the National Assembly budget, it has not. The details was not provided, and those who said transparency is very key in the activities of the Parliament as a responsibility to the people of Nigeria.
Yes. So, as I said, I hope and I do wish that there will be a time when we'll have the opportunity to identify those projects and see whether there's some truth in what he said or he was just talking.
But do you subscribe, though, the manner in which the value of the constituency project are being shared? And someone like Senator Jaribi has said, these things are not even. Some senators got, some leaders got about 500 million, some got 250, some got 300. How many of those value went to your constituency, Senator?
I believe that the way things are done currently, especially with the last 2 budgets, including the supplementary budget of last year, were not done properly. The fact remains that most senators get what they want or what they lobby for, not because they have a right to it. So everybody simply just goes about doing what they can do for their constituencies, for their senatorial districts. Although the better approach would have been for some kind of uniformity. So if they say that every senatorial district should get a project of about, a constituency project of about 1 billion, then so be it. That it should be. But this way, the way it's done now, you just basically rely on your wits and your contacts to see what you can get for your people.
So it's a case of all animals are equal, but more are more equal than the others. Yeah, that's what it's looking like.
Well, it's just the system. It's just the system.
Does that sit well with you?
Well, it's a system in Nigeria. As I said, I would have preferred a situation where we all know what we are getting for our constituency. You don't need to lobby for it, and it is a standard thing. Every of the 109 senators should know from the outset what is going to their particular district, and it should be published. We're not talking about money for the senators per se. It's not money for us.
So the money doesn't go to your pocket?
No. This is for projects within our senatorial district. That totaling whatever it is. So if you have roads, if you have water projects, you have training programs, all should aggregate to a particular amount. And most of us, like myself, I'm not really concerned about who the contractor is or who is doing it. I just want those projects to be done for my constituency.
I heard this, the Deputy Senate President say on the floor, Senator Barao, making reference to you when you were trying to move. You spoke about a particular issue, and he said, look, Senator Nwoko is very well connected. He can meet these people and attract some of these things. How much of this project are you able to attract to the people of your constituency?
A lot, because I just...
To what value?
Just as...
Did you get as much as some of the leaders, 500 million?
Of course, yes.
You got up to that?
I've got more than that, for my people. I mean, that's why I am who I am,
So you got up to 1 billion?
Of course.